Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at some of the best Google Pixel 6a tricks and tips that you can use on your Google Pixel 6a. Now, these are going to range into a ton of different things, but hopefully at the end of it, you should have a decent understanding of how to use your Pixel 6a, but mostly some like tricks and tips. I've already done a full breakdown tutorial on exactly how to use this thing. Now, the first thing I will definitely tell you as soon as you buy and or pick up your Google Pixel 6a is to update your phone. You would not believe that, how many people buy a phone like this, maybe even like 6, 7 months, maybe even a year or two after it coming out, and they never update their device. So what I recommend doing is as soon as you buy this phone, go ahead and make your way over to your settings panel. You want to go ahead and scroll down until you see your system panel, which is all the way at the bottom. You want to go and click here, and then what you want to do here under system update, just go ahead and update your phone. Very, very basic trick. It's not even a trick at this point. All you want to do is check for updates, and if there's an update available, you should update to it. Most of the time, with a Google Pixel like this, these things are first in line to get updates, and that's one really cool thing about this phone. So I would recommend updating your phone as often as possible, and that is probably one of my favorite things to do with this specific device and with any Pixel. Now, while we're in the settings application, another thing you can do is turn on dark mode or turn on light mode within your Google Pixel 6a as well. Now, natively, as soon as you boot up your Pixel 6a, at least from my opinion, I was on dark mode. I personally like using dark mode, but it doesn't look quite as good on camera, so I keep it on light mode. But if you want to switch on and off, it's actually very easy. What you can do is you can swipe up, and you want to go ahead and get into your settings panel, just like how we were before. You want to scroll down until you see display. So go ahead and turn on display like this. And what you want to do, I'm going to go ahead and just for the base of this video, turn this to 5 minutes. But what you want to do is you want to scroll over to dark theme right here. And all you really have to do is go ahead and disable or enable the dark theme, whichever one you want. Now you can also go ahead and schedule a dark theme as well. If you want to go ahead and turn it on after like 9 p.m., it'll go and turn on or off. You can go and enable it there. And that is another really cool thing that you have the ability of doing. Now, swapping back out, another thing I want to go ahead and break down, it's not really just for Pixels in general, but with any Android phone, is the amount of emulators that I personally like playing with on the Google Play Store. Now, this is something I love about Android is that, iOS devices don't have, but essentially what we have the ability of doing is literally going straight within our Google Play Store and downloading any emulator that you want to. So in this case, what we can do is we can just go click on the search bar up there, and we can just type in emulator just like so. And there are tons of different ones. Now, if you don't know what emulators are, you can skip ahead a little bit. But there are tons of different emulators available, including the Dolphin emulator, which is amazing. PP is also here, and these are some of the best emulators you can download. In my opinion, I would recommend downloading My Boy. I think there's a lot of different, there's a trial out there as well if you want to download it. But without a doubt, all you have to do is search up an emulator. In this case, we can go ahead and search up something like My Boy Lite, which is a free one that's has basically all the features as the other one, kind of. You can click install, and now you've just installed a Game Boy Advance emulator on your Google Pixel 6a. And again, this is one of my favorite things to do on really any Android phone. So I would recommend going through, researching which ones you like more, and then kind of going from there. Now, on top of that, another cool thing that I love about Android phones is that you have the ability of turning on gestures, but you also have the ability of turning on a button layout at the bottom if you really prefer that way. So if you want to do that, what you can do is you can make your way over to your settings application as well. So make your way back over here. And we have a few different things. We can always search within our settings. So in this case, we'll just go ahead and click on the little search bar up here under search settings, and we'll just type in gestures. So we'll just type in gestures just like so, and you can go and click on here. And what's super cool is right here under gestures, we can click on there, and we can go ahead and enable so many different things. So under system navigation, if we click here, you can see that we can have the gesture navigation, which is having the little bar at the bottom, which I actually prefer. Or what you can do is you can have the 3-button navigation at the bottom too. Now, I know a ton of people who prefer it this way. Sometimes the animations look a little bit better if you go through like this way too, instead of having to scroll up. Personally, like I said, I'm kind of indifferent. I prefer gestures, but also for some cases, like, if you're trying to get a super fast experience, honestly, sometimes using a bottom bar like this may be a little bit faster for some people out there. So it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but it is one thing you can do as well. Now, while we're here, another really cool thing I would recommend doing is actually within Google Messages. So if you already have your SIM card installed, I personally don't have the SIM card in here, but one thing you can do within Google Messages is actually enable a lot of cool things. Because this is a stock Android phone and it uses Google Messages out of the box, what you can do is you can click on the 3 dots right on the top right corner, and then what you can do is not only choose a different theme within Google Messages, so you can use the system default, dark or light, but what you can also do is click on settings, which is right there, and here you have a ton of different things built in. What you can always do is click on advanced, and there are a lot of cool little advanced options within Google Messages. And because you're using this application so much, it has so many cool things built in. Now, another thing is right up here with chat features. I'd recommend clicking on chat features. And if you have a SIM card enabled, what you can do is actually enable so many different things that you may not even know about. Things like seeing the reactions and so many other things within your specific Google Messages chat. So I would recommend going through here and just understanding exactly, everything you could do within your, chat features within Google Messages. Like I mentioned, this is another really cool thing I would get used to. Now, on top of that, another thing kind of switching all over the place is actually within our Google Play Store. So if we make our way over here, one thing that I always recommend people to do is to keep their apps updated as often as possible. Now, you can turn on application updates by clicking on your little profile icon up here. You can go ahead and scroll down over to settings, which is right here, and there's a lot of other things you can go ahead and modify within here as well. Now, if you go and click on something like, general settings, there's a lot of other things you can do here. You can also change the theme if you want to, but personally, like I said, but there's a lot of other things you can kind of build in here too, like network preferences. But right here where we have auto update applications, I would recommend clicking on network preferences and keeping auto updates on. So click on auto updates, and if you prefer it, you can go ahead and over Wi-Fi, I'd probably recommend doing over Wi-Fi only, but you can also update your specific applications over any network. So if you're on the go or whatever, you can keep your apps up to date all the time, and you don't have to worry about your application being outdated. Now, this is better for worse. You can also turn this off if you want to, but personally on most of my Android phones, I like keeping it enabled because it keeps my apps up to date without me having to go ahead and constantly update them. Now, this is for better or for worse, like I mentioned, but it is one of those things that's kind of nice to have every once in a while. Now, on top of that, another really cool thing we have is within our keyboard. So if we make our way over to our keyboard, kind of crazy if you think about it, but Gboard has a ton of features built in. It's not even funny anymore. Now, one thing I really like, as always, is going through and being able to use dictation. So you can go ahead and, talk to Google just like this, and you can pretty much just talk. And Google's text-to-speech has been really good recently. Within the last few pixels, they've done a tremendous job at this, and you can see it's doing pretty good at this for the most part. But one cool thing within this keyboard itself is you have a lot of things built into. You can always change the theme by clicking over here and changing the theme of the keyboard. So you can keep it like this if you want to, but you can also turn it dark. You can also go ahead and turn it to this color, whichever one you prefer. There's a lot of other options built in here as well. You can always access the emojis by clicking right there as well. And you can always go through, and if you get this panel back out, you can see things like your, translate, you can see your settings right here too, which this in and of itself is another awesome panel. Just like with Google Messages, your keyboard is one of those things you're going to be spending a ton of time on as well. So getting used to it and, accessing your key clipboard, so many other things like that is really cool. And like I mentioned, with a Google Pixel 6a, you are unlocking so many cool different things within a phone like this that is not even funny. Now, another thing I recommend doing, as always, is going through and kind of configuring your specific control panel up here. So with your control center, your toggles up here, you can go ahead and modify these however which way you want to. Now, you can always click the pencil over here, and what I would recommend doing is actually kind of dragging and dropping any of these other toggles you like at the bottom to the top portion, so you can go ahead and pretty much unlock all these other ones without having to constantly go through and, open up all your ones and having to go through the settings every single time, because going through settings to, use each individual, little toggle can be a little annoying. It's so much easier to scroll down and seeing your toggles up there. So scroll down, click on the pencil, and just drag and drop all these other little toggles from the bottom to the top, and that can give you a little bit of a better experience as well. So in terms of that, those are some of my, best tricks and tips that I personally like, kind of using on my Pixels, not only for the Pixel 6a, but a lot of Android phones in general. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.